In this video, I'd like to give you a little bit more detailed overview for sequence mode. Now, in the introductory video to the entire series, I did kind of touch base on what sequence mode used for. Sequence mode is basically where you're going to be recording all the notes using 16 of your tracks, and then you also get 16 audio tracks too, so you can record data in those as well, like a hard disk recorder. So if you're not already there, go ahead and click on the sequence mode button, and you'll see here this one actually has a song loaded up. I just loaded it from the disk, just like we did in the second lesson for the entire series for loading songs. If you don't have a loaded song in here, you might see it says new song. It might say new song 001 there. But if you have a song loaded in there, you can kind of see, you can kind of follow along with this lesson a little bit easier. So basically in this first play page, you're going to notice that you have kind of a mixer view, just like in combi mode, where you can see the 16 tracks, but rather than timbers like in combi mode, these are actually programs that are assigned to tracks. Now, one thing that's different in sequence mode than combi mode is that you also have an audio track mixer tab, and this shows the tracks 1 through 16 that correspond to audio tracks. So you get 32 tracks total that you can record different performance sections or program in drum sections or lay in patterns and so forth. And a lot of these tabs here, they're going to correspond just like on combi mode. You might have performance meters. That's one we've seen before. There's also karma tabs, control surface tabs. We've also seen the EQ and vector control tabs, and also these MIDI zone tabs. These are all things that you've kind of seen in combi mode, so they should make sense to you. One other important tab too, though, is the track edit tab in sequence mode. Now, anytime you're doing recording, you're going to notice that not only are you recording in real time, but you're also arranging that data or those notes that you've played. And by arranging, I mean you may be selecting a range of measures and repeating it for 2 or 3 measures. If it's a drum track, you may repeat it all the way throughout the entire song. You may come back and just erase one section of the song and re-record in just in that one little slot. You may go in and actually micro edit individual notes. Let's say you played a performance and one of the keys was accidentally pressed that you didn't want to play. So you can go in and do detailed edits like that. All of those type functions are done in the track edit tab. So this is a really common tab that you're going to go to. You may do some punch-in recording from here. You may move some measures around. You may copy and paste measures to other locations in the song. Some other tabs that you may not have seen before: pattern/RPPR. The combi modes doesn't really utilize patterns, neither does program mode, but in sequence mode you can actually utilize these patterns. And patterns is kind of a loose term. It's used in electronic music a lot, and it can mean a lot of different things. You know, I've referred to the karma patterns before. I've referred to drum patterns before. Well, an actual pattern, a pattern that's, say you were looking up a reference to it in the manual for the Kronos. A pattern is a defined section of a musical phrase that can be assigned to play through a track. So this musical phrase you can actually use to link together and build different sections of a song. You can assign this pattern to be played with one key press, and that's called an RPPR, where you assign those patterns to keys to be played with just one key press. It kind of plays those back or fires those whenever you press the key, kind of like some samplers do. You may press a key and then hear like a whole drum loop begin to play or something like that. So we're going to get in and talk about those RPPRs and patterns as well. Everything else is pretty much the same. You've got karma pages, just like in combi mode. You can change which modules control what, or send notes through whatever tracks just like in combi mode, except you're using timbers. The insert effect, master effect is pretty much the same. If you take a look at these, you do have an indication showing some audio routing, audio tracks 1 through 16, whereas in combi you just have the instrument tracks 1 through 16. But we'll get in those in later detail when we cover and more information dealing specifically with the effects section in sequence mode. But for this video, this pretty much concludes what I wanted to go over as far as an overview for sequence mode in the Korg Kronos.